Unfortunately, in our open admission shelters, they have no choice but to take everything that comes through the front door. For example, the Wake County Animal Shelter is an open admission shelter. So if they don't take the animals that are dropped off to them, there's no place for them to go. And what happens is, at times there's overcrowding. There's animals that are taken into the shelter for behavioral issues, or they're sick, or there's a problem with the animals, and sometimes euthanasia is necessary.
Euthanasia is Greek for good death, and what your goal is for it to be as painless and as comfortable as possible so that the pet doesn't suffer any anxiety or pain.
The shelters get 30 to 50 dogs a day. Obviously they don't have the room for those dogs, so the excess dogs are euthanized.
No dog or cat under any circumstances whatsoever has a ticking timetable over their head the moment they walk through the front door. That is not the case. Whenever we have to euthanize at our facility, it is actually only when we absolutely have to, after we have exhausted every other resource that we have. We actually have meetings every week with all of our coordinators, our director, our operations manager, everyone pretty much. And we talk about the animals that are at risk and what we can do to make sure they won't be euthanized. I would say that the number of adoptions, unfortunately, are normally going to be a lot lower than the amount that are coming in. I would say probably around maybe 5 to 10 on a good average day are going to be adopted out of here.
There's too many unwanted litters that are born every year because people aren't spaying and neutering their pets, and then there are too many pets that are lost or abandoned. And as a result, when the shelters get overcrowded, there's not much choice.
That is the number one thing that people can do. They can get their dogs spayed and neutered so that the pet population decreases, so that we're not euthanizing thousands and thousands of dogs.
Our policies for microchipping, vaccines, and spay and neuter surgery is very strict. No dog or cat leaves this building without being microchipped, spayed, and neutered, no matter what. It doesn't matter if it's going to rescue or if it's going to be adopted. We want to make sure that it's spayed or neutered first so we can ensure that this animal will not contribute at all to the overpopulation of animals currently in our county.
Spaying and neutering, you can't go wrong with it. That's the only answer. It really is. We just have too many puppies, too many kittens. The dog that has been here the longest right now is Miller here, and he is 8 years old. He is a lab mix, and he's been here since May. He was adopted and then returned. Unfortunately, his owners went through a divorce, and they decided that they weren't able to keep him anymore, and he was returned back to us. And unfortunately, that's a story that we hear too often.
The general public can actually do a lot to support the shelter. Number one is adopt.
If you can't adopt, volunteer. If you can't volunteer, donate.
What the community can do to protect animals, the homeless pets in our shelters, from having to be euthanized for space issues, is that they can volunteer and get involved with their community shelter. They can foster animals for the shelter. They can raise awareness within their community that there's homeless pets that are fabulous, that are for adoption at the shelter, and really steer the community toward looking to the shelter for all of their animal needs.
The most important thing that people can do is not only spay and neuter your pets and make sure that they're up to date on their shots and microchipped so they never come in here in the first place, but to just remain positive about your county animal center. You may hear things about euthanasia, you may hear things that are negative, but instead of assuming your own meaning behind those, coming here, meeting us, asking for a tour of the facility, checking our website for our reports that we do every month, can really give you a better understanding of what we do here and allow you to help us spread a more positive message.
Forever, there has been a stigma associated with animal shelters. When our parents were young and watched cartoons, the dog catcher was the guy that came after the dogs on the cartoon. Lady and the Tramp, the movie, the dog catcher was bad. the majority of the time, we see that animals are the glue that can hold some of these families together in our underserved communities. And I think protecting that family unit, if the community rallies around protecting that family unit, we can keep pets from ending up in animal shelters, because sometimes it comes down to simply a bag of food.
I think if you do some research, you'll find out dogs lower blood pressure in people, they fight off depression, they make people exercise, because when you get up in the morning and your dog's in your face wanting to go for a walk, you're not going to say, oh no, not today.
So I decided that I needed to get my own dog. So I did some research. I found out that boxer personalities kind of fit in line with what I'm looking for. And so I got me a boxer. And then she helped me through a really just crazy, sad time in my life. And then one day I just looked at her and said, you know, I'm gonna find a way to give back to dogs and cats as a whole, because you as my pet have given me so much.
I got this job 7 years ago after one of my childhood dogs had to be put down because of old age. And I wanted to make a difference for my dog, Andre. I was looking for a job and I wanted to work with animals. And I like to think that, you know, after we had to say goodbye to him, he was up in heaven working his magic, pulling some strings for me, and I got this job. When you adopt from the SPCA of Wake County, you're not just saving one life. When you adopt, you're not just saving the life that you take home, you're saving the life of the animal that gets your pet's empty kennels.
And it's just a huge help to us, because the more animals we have going out, the more space we have to bring animals back in that need help.
I would rather not have a job as an animal control officer knowing that the animals are out there are being well cared for than to have this job knowing that I have to prevent it.